Hey, how are you?
Well, thanks. Us.
Yeah, well,
So,
welcome.
thank you. Let me
Yeah,
turn
so
my.
I'll give a brief bio. We're pleased to be we're pleased to be joined by Jonathan Rachman, interior design star in San Francisco. As one of the Bay Area's most celebrated interior designers, Jonathan brings an international story to all of his work. His work has been published in ELLE Decor, Vogue, The English Home, Travel & Leisure, Harper's Bazaar, Dolce, House Beautiful, and Luxe, among
Uh,
others.
Whatever.
Jonathan is also included in Maria Spassov's book, Celebrity Designers, 50 Interviews on Design, Architecture, and Life, as well as the Louis Vuitton City Guide. Welcome.
I'm blushing already.
Yeah. I can see I think you're in your studio in the city.
I am. I am. It's closed, but it's only me and my manager, uh, Judith. But
Right,
as usual,
yeah.
the store is closed.
Yeah, it's like such a great little spot right across from Zuni Cafe. I always go in there and I'll find like a little hidden treasure.
Should I turn the camera just to see Zuni quickly?
Sure.
Here we go. Zuni is closed, but I have
Zuni,
my
the
heart in
famous
the
San
window.
Francisco cafe.
Yeah.
So nice. Yeah, it's
Here
filled
we
with so
go
many
for the back.
antiques and stuff from around the world. So yeah, so to
How are
start,
you?
how are you seeing with design? Are you seeing any trends changing with, shelter in place and everything going on in the world, different requests?
Yes. So it's interesting. First of all, thank you for having me. And
Yeah,
thanks for
thank you for
everybody
being
for
on.
joining us, and love all the hearts flying up. This is my first interview ever. I mean, in this format, I'm kind of shy.
It's an
Actually,
exclusive.
like maybe I should just do my half base like usual. Anyway, but as far as design requests or changes, obviously, I mean, the obvious are people working from home, and not everybody has a dedicated. Hi, Suzanne. Bonsoir from Paris. Actually, my publisher is just joining us from
Oh, that's
Matthew.
amazing. Yeah, we'll have to talk
And
about that.
so, anyway, not everybody has a dedicated office. So what has happened this last, gosh, I can't believe it's almost 6 months. A lot of requests of expanding their either kitchen islands, work from, hi Dean. Dean is my editor. He's in London right now, in Wales actually. Anyway,
Very cool.
and expanding kitchen and workspaces, including turning a formal living room that has become a workspace. So essentially using spaces that normally are not offices, and they just, even if they have an office, they don't want to get cooped up in the office. The second trend that I noticed also is, and actually my husband and I are in this category,
Yeah.
a decontamination area. Imagine your foyer or vestibule or entry that has typically, an antique a console or
Yeah.
you know, a table with beautiful stuff. Now it has become a sort of like the new mudroom, where they
Yes.
have gloves and masks and alcohol packs and
Yeah.
what is that? It disinfectant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's been the trend. Um,
Yeah.
but
Definitely kind of like a cleansing spot.
yeah. But beyond that, the crazy part is I have posted and mentioned this. I'm saddened by the pandemic, but as an individual, I tend to be optimistic, and I always say that I've made, born, raised with love, and I always like to spread the love. And I stay positive, and I always want to contribute. And what we put out there comes back to you. And this
Yeah.
last, believe it or not, the last 2 or 3 months, we have been extremely busy with new projects, as well as existing clients that continue to award us with projects. So people are actually buying properties. As you know, I mean, more than anybody, you know about the market. it somewhat softens, but I think people are motivated to find just the right home for them right now.
Yeah. No, I think that people want a nice place to call home too. So,
Yeah,
whether it's redesigning
absolutely.
their house or upgrading or getting more space or, yeah, no, for sure. I think they're realizing the importance of a nice house and nice design, for sure.
Yeah.
What was your first introduction to the world of interior design?
It's interesting. I have never planned to be an interior designer. And those who have followed me or know me well enough know the story. I'll give you just a quick condensed version.
Yeah.
I was in the corporate world, American corporate, for many, many years after graduation. My formal education was in hospitality management. I think we shared about my story about going to school in Switzerland. I graduated from hospitality management actually at USF or from USF. The corporate life just wasn't for me. I literally, between graduation and 2001 or 2002, I exaggerate you not, that I had maybe between 35 to 40 jobs.
Yeah.
I walked into a job. If I wasn't happy, I didn't like the place, for whatever reason, I walk out. Oh, well, I give a proper notice, but sometimes, you know what, this is not working out. The grueling time in the corporate world in America is not what I am, because in Europe, where I live, and they give you 4 to 5 weeks vacations, only humane, I think, per year.
Yeah.
In the US, you are lucky if you get 1 week after you complete 12 months of work. It's just not possible, and it's not humanly possible. Mm-hmm. So I was very unhappy in that way, but I was fortunate to negotiate. My last corporate job was with Just Desserts. If you're from San Francisco,
oh yeah, of course.
If you remember Just Desserts with the best carrot cake and
the best carrot cake, yes.
Right. So they actually poached me from Jamba Juice. Yes, I work for Jamba Juice, and they give me a really cushy job as a director of operations. And I negotiated a 4 to 5 weeks vacations. That was my longest job for 2 years in my life. Long story short, I was the person responsible. I worked with the chairman and the founder to actually sell the company to a bigger corporation, and we closed a lot of the retail stores.
Yeah.
I moved to Portland with my husband. He was doing his residency as a psychologist. And came back here, and I said, there is no way I can work in a corporate world ever again. I mean, just not in me. Between the politics, the
not creative
structure, all the stress, no. So I took a note, and I just said, you know, what would I do? So I just took a piece of paper, and I made a list of things that I want to do. And one of them is being a florist, being a flower girl.
Yeah.
And from that, I made literally a list of like 20 things that I would need to open a flower shop. I wanted to rent a sidewalk on Church Street where Lovejoy is. And somehow it just didn't work out because they were loyal to their neighbors. But the neighbor who's a florist took me under her wing to actually find a space on Sacramento and Fillmore, which was a really posh neighborhood.
Oh, yeah. Great location.
Yeah. Long story short, my husband and I opened a flower shop within 3 weeks of moving back to California. And we worked from 2 to 3 a.m. in the morning until about 6, 7, 8 o'clock, 6, 7 days a week.
Wow.
One of the hardest work I've ever done, but it was one of the most rewarding, satisfying things.
And were they mainly local customers, or was it more like?
To start with, I just walk-ins. I rented a space in a hair salon, and people thought I was a hairdresser. So rude.
Yeah.
But walk-ins and local restaurants and stores. A year later, my husband went back to continue his career in psychology.
Yeah.
And I stayed on. We could afford our first employee. And my store was like literally, you've been to my current store right now.
Yeah, love it.
Really
such a great spot.
The front part is like maybe about 100, 200 square feet.
Yeah.
One day, about 7, 8 people crowded my store and just watched me doing arrangements. At the end, the main guy told me, he said, I'm gonna hire you. And I said, thank you so much. What am I supposed to do? I have no idea. Yeah. He left, and his handler or manager told me, congratulations, do you know who that was? I said, I'm so sorry, I have no idea. So apparently it was Marc Jacobs and his creative director.
Oh, amazing.
And essentially, I was hired to do their flowers twice a week for their flagship store in Union Square.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Cyril Magnin or...
Yeah.
Yeah. And the rest is history. His PR company actually connected me to Madonna and Oprah and Sarah Jessica. Cool. And they became my loyal clients. And those lovely people continue to spread the word. And before you knew it, somebody found me and said, I went to, between interior and flowers, I did a lot of design for events for different people and companies, including MTV and VH1.
Very cool. So more than just the flowers, you were starting to create the design events.
Right. And one day I went back to Paris, and if your clients fly you on the right airlines and seat, you sit next to the ambassador's wife of Austria, who by chance knew my landlady, who I called Mom here. Hi, Ruth, if you're listening, it's you. And she basically hired me. I became a Mile High Club, not what you think, but she hired me on the plane to design United Nations 60th anniversary.
Wow, amazing.
Do you know that United Nations was founded in San Francisco?
I did, yeah, the Civic Center right there. Actually, I think it may be Symphony Hall.
Yeah. So that was in 2006. And
very cool.
From this event, I call them the Ladies Who Lunch. Yes, you know who you are. Hi, Ladies Who Lunch. I know some of you are joining us. And they found me and said, hey, I saw your events, love what you did. Would you decorate my home? So the joke was, I said, you know, I've never gone to an interior design school, and I'm not an interior designer, but I'd give it my best. I think I'll be a good fluffer.
Yeah.
So I laughed, and literally the rest is history. That's it.
That's amazing. And then where was your very first full-on interior design project?
Where was my first interior design project?
Like full-on, where you renovated it, or you did a whole home?
So without naming names, I had two important individuals in San Francisco. One actually had a really super fun loft, modern loft in South of Market, and one is in Presidio Heights. And the first time I was hired was to do a 12,000 square feet home.
Wow.
And literally I just planned, and as well as, it's interesting because I have a connection in Asia, and somebody introduced me to one of the CRA. CRA for me, it stands for CRA, which is Crazy Rich Asians. And I actually was hired to design a penthouse in a Ritz-Carlton residence in Asia. That was my very first interior design project, and then two in San Francisco. Yeah. And I completed the project, and before you know it, the client said, "Hey, I'm building a house in Carmel or in Napa. Would you now design?"
Can you do that too?
So it's from the ground up, not just the interior, but the facade, the master plan, the architecture, and.
That's amazing. And so because you fell into it, where did you get, because clearly you have I feel like a lot of English influences in your stuff. Right? I feel a little bit like I'm in London or something. Where did you live in London at any point? I know that you had said that Paris was you told me last night that Paris was your childhood and London's your adulthood.
while I never lived in London formally, I did spend a lot of time in London in my youth as an adult. So I went to boarding school in Switzerland, and also my parents and I would travel a lot as a kid. Actually, speaking of London, you know the Claridges. There is if Mr. Martin is there or Sir Martin is there, I've known Mr. Martin for maybe since I was a child. He is maybe a concierge, the one of the longest concierges at Claridge's. Anyway, but I went to school with a lot of people from England.
Did you go to boarding school over in Switzerland then?
Yes.
Yeah.
And now it's become a hotel school, and I went to a hotel school called Le Roche, and I'm not sure if there's some alums here listening. Yeah. But through that, I just, you know, growing up with, let's just say, privileged children, have its own privileges, and one of them is every weekend we would, and I'm not proud of it. It's just part of my life. Yeah. And it's just part of my story. And every weekend we would be in Milan, London. I used to get a haircut.
Well, that's pretty nice.
I used to get a haircut from Mr. Sassoon himself. Remember Vidal Sassoon?
Yeah, of course.
And and because he's simply because he's a friend of my best friend's parents. Yeah. And we would just jet set every weekend in Milan, Copenhagen, Amsterdam, Brussels. And I know there's some friends here listening, and all this great memories. But London, I have to say, London is my adult town, and Paris was my childhood town.
And what do you love most about London versus Paris and vice versa?
Oh, you know, it's funny. Paris, I grew up in Paris and lived there for a long time. And as an adult, I moved back there. But I think I at this time, I'm like a full-blown Americanized person, and I didn't last. Moving back to Paris as an adult, I lasted maybe about 18 months. I think London has a just the perfect balance for me between the not to mention the architecture, the museums, and all the old school world that I really love in, but as well as the fun, more current practicality and attitude. And I do love the proper formality that London offer. And plus, there are a lot of friends and
what about style-wise?
What's that?
What about style-wise? Because I feel like it's a very heavy English influence of kind of, you know, old world.
So, you know, I think the collision between the French, the old European, the English, it's such a thin world. For me, being part of, the joke goes to say that I'm the gay son, de Gournay founder. I call him Daddy, that he never had. I call him Daddy really from the heart. People don't get that, but I adopt family from all over the world. But I think being involved
during de Gournay, for people not listening, it's who don't know, it's amazing wallpaper. It's probably the nicest wallpaper you could buy.
Thank you. Being part of de Gournay and you know, just working with them and collaborating with them closely exposed me to a lot more the English style. And you know, the last 2 years, because of de Gournay, and they invited us to have the amazing dinner at Han Hall, who has become truly an inspiration. And Lady Rose has been so kind, and she has now become one of my muses. I have a few muses in my life, and she's beautiful, as well as Hannah. Hannah is Cecile Harden, is the daughter of Claude, the founder of de Gournay. Yeah. And
Houghton Hall, of course.
What's that?
She's saying Houghton Hall is one of the most beautiful English estates.
It is, and it's available for a tour actually. So if you haven't visited, Town Hall in Norfolk.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, you should go.
Yeah, and I know when you did the decorator showcase, you did one at the main living room for last year's decorator showcase in Pacific Heights, and you took a lot of influence from Houghton Hall in that particular room. I know.
Yes, and if you scroll through my Instagram, I posted a few inspiration from Houghton Hall, as well as the amazing dinner that's hosted by Lady Rose, who's the Marchioness, and the Gourmet. It's one long table with 80 people. I mean, one single long table.
Cool.
One of the most beautiful dinner I've ever been to. And because of that, when I came back and invited by the Decorator Showcase to participate again, for me, what better house to apply that to, which is the Petit Trianon in San Francisco.
Yeah, and I felt like when going in that room, it was almost like going in an English country estate, but almost with theatrics.
Yeah, the room itself is called the entertainment room, like a drawing room. So I want it to be classic and heavily influenced by de Gournay wallpaper, which it's actually that wallpaper was originally installed at Houghton Hall. Lady Rose found the unused rolls in the attic, and de Gournay, I believe, was authorized to reproduce as well as refurbish what's installed in the room at Houghton Hall. And when I proposed the idea, they gave me permission to use that. That was the first time that wallpaper was ever actually installed outside of Houghton Hall. Yeah,
it was beautiful. I remember you had the lamp was very modern. It was very modern and it kind of looked like roots, and you kind of...
Speaking of, so I'm going to show you this. This is perfect because I'm going to see if I could move this camera. If you could.
Is this the same? Oh, there it is, right there.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you the story about this lamp and chandelier before it's being moved to one of our beautiful projects coming up in 1 or 2 months, going to be installed in a project we just got. And
in San Francisco?
This chandelier is called the Tree of Life, I believe, Judith, yes?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Okay, so it's originally designed by product designer Lex Pot. He's an amazing artist and designer, and that's based in Holland. The first time he did this was a little smaller, and it was installed in a castle in Austria.
Wow!
And it was the first light fixture that was ever installed in this 13th centuries old castle that's never been electrified before. I saw it on the social media. I tracked him down. Actually, I saw it on Love Meyer because that's how much Love Meyer lighting company in Austria loved Lexpot, and they posted it. And the idea is that there's one main shaft in the chandelier, and there's only one light source, and the light itself is distributed throughout all the branches down to the very end.
And very cool. It's like a tree.
It is to symbolize the royal family blood and family tree. How we get less and less. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, of course.
Their blood, their lineage gets thinner.
And
the lineage gets thinner as
totally. That's very cool. It was such a centerpiece in that room in the decorator showcase. But it's a great contrast.
I like to juxtapose. You can't please everyone. I mean, being in a showcase, you hear all kinds of opinion, and I design because I love it, and one of the best thing in the showcase that you can do is to do. You have a lot of freedom in doing what you want, and that's what I want to convey. It's my style and what I would do with this room. So this is such a modern picture juxtaposed in a very somewhat old school traditional. For me, that's what makes it work. Had I put a dripping crystal chandeliers, there's nothing wrong with that. But I find that boring and not interesting.
Right. I think what you did is very interesting. Also, I like design when it tells a story. You know, there's so much design out there where it feels like a hotel lobby, or where you don't get a sense of the personality of the person living there. It's just very stage looking. But I think great design tells a story about the person and has depth and texture to it.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah.
agree. I think design should reflect the owner of the house, the function of the room. You know, I have a lot of respect for all designers, and being in the eyes of the public, you never know who likes what, you know. But
Yeah.
for me, it's always about the owner of the house. It's not about me. It's not about the press and the media. If they
Yeah.
love it, for me, it's a bonus. Like this room, I put my heart into that room in the showcase. If you remember the green room,
Yeah, love the green
2007,
lacquer.
that was supposed to be my last showcase, and because after that room with the silk wallpaper of the green one, and it's hand embroidered.
Yeah.
That was inspired by Givenchy and Audrey Hepburn. I told myself, how do I top this room? What do I do, you know? And I believe, and if there are showcase designers here listening, or somebody who wants to be in the showcase, my advice is to show your style, to be who you are, to stay true to yourself, and don't try so hard to follow the trend, or to be other designers, or to be such and such designer. Just be yourself. And also to know when to stop doing a decorative showcase. I mean, you know, I again, with all due respect, with a lot of designers, there are a lot of people that I call the frequent flyers.
Yes.
And they do showcase after showcase, like there's it's almost like
kind of blends in. Yeah.
And at the end, it becomes monotonous, or they fall flat, and that's the last memory people see of you.
Yes.
So after that green room, I told myself, how do I top that? I would be my worst own enemy, most probably.
That makes
Because
sense. Well, it was a great one.
The green room was perfectly edited. And when Showcase invited me again, I told them, yes, I would do this for the last time, for the blue room, the Houghton Hall room. Number one, I want to be grateful to the Showcase board members and the institution itself. It's a great cause.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I don't want to be those designers who said they played a big role in my career by putting my name out there. And if I say no, I think it's just, I don't want to be the designer. Oh, now that he's big and successful, he refused to come back and do this. So I told them I want to do this to thank them, but also I want to challenge myself. How do I top that green room? I think the Houghton Hall room that's inspired by Houghton Hall was a success in a way that it's the opposite of the green room. It's perfectly layered, whereas the green room was perfectly edited. But anyway, that's the story.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Also, when we edit this post, we'll put some pictures of the room so people can see it. Also, when you have a new client, because you have your definite style, how do you approach meeting with the client, and then how do you learn about, like, what do you need to learn about them to then incorporate it in your style, and how do you mix and match that?
Sorry about the long hair. Look at that.
Oh no, everyone.
But I always, again, it's all about the human, the person who lives in the house. I'd like to get to know them as much as they allow me to get to know them. I'd like to know how they eat, where they go out to eat. Now they can't. How they dress, what airlines they travel. What is this house for? Is this truly a lived-in house? Is this a summer home? Is this a weekend home? Is this house for a showcase, meaning
entertaining?
Exactly. Or is this truly a house where you want to raise your kids? You're planning to have family and raise your kids. And so I just get to know them personally and their style. And I want to make sure that I listen and understand truly what they want their house to be, and help them get there in a stylish way, And again, it's their house, it's not my house. But
And how do you mix it with your
What's that?
with your how do you put your own stamp on that though?
You know, you understand the Venn diagrams, the circles,
Yeah.
right? And after I get to know them, I think to start with, the reason why they come to me, they already understand what I'm all about. And the person who calls me would not call or hire a different designer, because half of it is chemistry, and half of it is trust. You have to trust your designer. Listen to me, future clients. So you have to trust your designer, and once you have that trust, you just work. You work it like a Venn diagram. You find that middle ground that you appreciate each other. If somebody calls me and say they want everything in the Art Deco style, or they want everything in heavily gilded Rococo style, I would most probably decline or refer them to my colleague or somebody else.
Yeah.
But after interviewing them, I think it's a matter of it's guiding your client to make sure that they select and they select the right objects or style. But also, it's up to me how I present. It's my job to propose and design, present the design concept, the overall. I think a house should be cohesive. It is not a showcase in a true sense. I think a house should speak the language of the owners.
Also, I guess if they're going to in the first place, presumably they already like your style and aesthetics. Yeah. So who would you say is, because you fell into design, which I think a lot of great artists and professionals, you know, they fall into something and they didn't necessarily set out to do the certain thing. But who would you say is your biggest influence in terms of a designer, another interior designer, living or of the past?
Okay, so this is a very it's a difficult question for me always to answer. But in summary, not necessarily interior designers. What I think I'm most influenced with, number one, by my travel and the places that I've lived. But if I have to refer to anyone, it's the classic designers, not just interior design, but we're talking about Givenchy and Mr. Dior. You know, fashion and interior design, they always collide. And there is one. He was such a bohemian man. His name is Oliver Messel. I don't know if most people know him. Some I know. Dean Reese Morgan, my editor, is listening most probably right now, and he gifted me a few books about him, and I instantly fell in love with his style. Obviously he's no longer around, but he is a set designer. He's an interior designer. He's a fashion designer. He's just a multi-talented, iconic individual.
And where was he based?
Oh my gosh, he is, like I said, he's no longer around, but he has a lot of projects or work as an interior designer in Florida, I believe. Theatrical as well. I believe he has a lot of work in Florida, but he did a lot of work in Hollywood also. Yeah, that's cool. Oliver Messel. Just go ahead and Google him. An amazing,
I will.
Iconic.
I think it's really interesting too. You get the inspiration. I mean, I think you really can get inspiration from totally different industries. I know Ralph Lauren got a lot of inspiration from, you know, the early Hollywood films.
Absolutely.
You know, Cary Grant films and stuff like that. So that makes that makes a lot of sense. Do you think, what is the biggest difference between European interior design and American interior design?
I was asked, or I've been asked this question quite a bit. So this is my standard answer. The Europeans have a sensibility that's just natural. They don't formulate anything. They live. Their design is just part of life. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Whereas I believe the Americans look for some kind of course I'm generalizing, not every American style is this way, but they look for that formulated interior design look.
Right.
And something that I can never achieve, to be honest. As a designer, I cannot achieve the interior design look. The contrived, the formulated, and this matchy, symmetrical. Because I've never gone to an interior design school, I most probably break every rules in interior design or architecture. And most probably the professionals, the true designers who are trained formally look at my design most probably have a lot of disagreements or would point out things or mistakes in their opinion that I've done. But for me, it's, again, if it works for me, I love it. My clients love it. It works out. And in that regards, I think my design sensibility is very European, because I think it's part of life. And your home should not look so designed that you're so afraid to sit on a sofa. Or you know, I think every room should be lived in and has its own personality, but a cohesive part of the house.
I agree. I actually think that, particularly out here, I think a lot, you can go into a house and you know immediately if they had an interior designer or not, because it looks like either a staged house, or it looks like, you know, live there. It's very obvious that the person didn't choose any of their furniture. But I think great interior design, regardless of the style, it looks lived in and comfortable, and it's mixed and matched with different things. You know, it's one thing I love about it.
It's okay. I mean, if that's what they prefer, that's all right. To that note, you know, I don't know if you remember in my Han Hall room, I used a bar that used to belong to Lauren Bacall.
I love that old wooden bar.
And this bar is just recently purchased by a client of mine that I'm going to place in their living room.
In San Francisco?
What's that?
Locally or outside of the Bay?
I'm going to say, let's just say I can revisit this bar again. This bar was this bar is almost going to Japan, to Tokyo. I was freaking out when I heard somebody's about to buy this bar and it's about to be shipped to Tokyo. I love this bar so much, but it's time for somebody else to appreciate it. But I love the fact that it's going to a dear friend / client, a client dear friend. And the reason I brought this up is this client, at some point you'll see the pictures once it
I'll put that bar there,
Yeah, once it's the bar is actually right next to me, and it's about to be delivered soon. Right? Yeah. But anyway, this bar is going to a house that's truly this specific client that I'm working with. I love her and his style. It's a couple with children who are in college right now, but they have a style that's just so lived in. It's so natural to see their environment. You know, you just feel so welcome and so warm, and you can just plop yourself in anywhere, have cocktails, chat, work if you want to from the living room. But I love their what I call mismatch chic. And it's reflective of both of their style, the husband and wife. Both style are applied to the way they live. I mean, her sense of fashion is the same way. You see her in all the front row of the fashion show in Paris and New York, but she doesn't wear the brand. The brand doesn't matter, but she match her style in such a very chic and unusual way. And the same way we're going to do her house and his house. That's how I like to do it. I get to know them. I see how they dress. We go out, we hang out, we go to parties, and I get them, and it comes naturally for me to propose to them what they should do in their house.
Also, it must be the most fun. Those must be the most fun clients and projects, because you really have kind of bounce ideas off and creative energy.
Yes. And some clients, we get to travel the world all over the world together. I shop with them. Sometimes, yes, most of the time it's for interior design and for the for the house. We find just the right object or furniture or lighting. In Asia or in Europe, but sometimes they would invite me simply so I can help them. I can style them, and we just shop for their outfit. And
that's so cool.
super
Yeah,
fun.
that's one thing. Going back to the interior design, the one thing I love about Hearst Castle is that, you know, it's very elaborate and he's stuff everywhere, but he'll put, you know, he had comfortable in the day modern couches and modern chairs, and he would mix stuff that like was very livable as well with antiquities, which is really cool.
And that's how it should be. We're in 2020. We should carry. That's why if you look at my stores, you see objects from this century or from a few centuries ago, and I always have a lot of interest in how an object becomes arrive into this point in 2020.
Yes, same with me. I love objects with provenance. You know, it just tells a story. They have a background, and then you look at the object, you think about where it had been.
And you always pick my favorite stuff in the store.
Yes, I think last time you always have these little goodies, things that I didn't know I needed. I think it was like a 19th century cheese scooper. Last time.
Yes.
And
hi, Rebecca. Rebecca's just saying, hi guys. Hi, Rebecca. Wish you were here.
Oh yes, Rebecca also asks, is our mutual friend in London who's an architect. She's asking, what is your dream project aside from working with her?
Okay, I always love. To be honest, I've done my dream project, which is a project in Bali. Bali is close to my heart, and Rebecca knows how much I love Bali. It's not the island that I was born in, but my family and my husband built a lot of memories in Bali. The most beautiful, kind, loving people, and lots of beautiful architecture and cultural sites. So I've done a villa in Bali, and you know that's one of my dream projects. But if I had to pick one, and if you know anybody, I would love to design the entire package. So I don't know if you know this. We also do branding, and we do a lot of graphic design. And
I didn't know that.
So if we design a resort, we also create the name, the collateral material, the logo, down to the apron and uniform, and master plan architecture. But one thing that I really would love to do is to redesign a commercial, not private, a commercial airlines.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Interior, logo, uniform, the entire package and look of an airline. Imagine if Garuda, Indonesia, that's where I'm from. Putting a hint there. I mean, imagine if Garuda Indonesia gets to be rebranded and redesigned by me. Or
that would be amazing.
I'm not counting on Singapore Airlines. I'll leave it. I know that.
Who did Air Italia? There's a famous designer who designed their.
Oh gosh, I wish I knew, but yes, of course.
I forget who it was.
I can't remember if Philip Stark has done airlines or not, but and you know, private jets it's not easy, but private jet is a little more contained.
But I agree. There seems like there's such an opening for like beautiful design in commercial jets.
Yeah, I want to bring the airlines back into its golden era again.
And now, where do you find all your? Because I'm a big fan, as you were saying, of your shop. I'm actually sitting on the military campaign chair that I got there.
Oh, gorgeous!
And then my coffee table is the Maison Jansen with the ram's feet that you had there.
Yes.
But where do you find your Where do you find things?
Oh, it's if my husband has been such a great partner in crime, and he has a patience of a saint. Everywhere I go, it doesn't matter if it's a buying trip or just a vacation or visiting family. I shop everywhere and anywhere. The obvious is the Paris flea market, but that's so last century. I shop while I'm
I still love it.
Lunch all over the world. Truly, I go to the Midwest, to London, to Thailand, to Hong Kong, Shanghai, Java. In the village of Java, that most people have no idea where that is, or there may be 20 people in the village. I would find items there, or I'd be traveling. Let's say from this last trip. we'll talk about the book after this, because
Yeah.
this last trip right before the pandemic, actually I was in Europe a week before Italy was closed.
Wow.
So I was in
Was it like
after Bali
February?
in Singapore. What's that?
Were you in there in February then?
I was there, yes, the end of January, early February. I was in, let's see, New York, Germany, Paris, Italy, and Spain. So at every stop, it just doesn't matter. I bought it, or I coordinated with my manager in San Francisco, and I will take care of the logistics. Oh, I'll be in Spain. I was in Spain actually for a birthday of my dear friend. She's like a sister to me, who happened to be my general manager, Judith. She is the superwoman behind or next to this man.
Yeah.
Actually, I went there for her mom's big birthday, and just going to lunch, or I saw in the corner of my eyes there's an antique store, and of course I raided the store, and actually these items are about to arrive anytime now. So just it's, for me, it's about objects that speak to me. They actually talk to me. People don't believe.
Like, I have to have that.
Right. Like I don't buy to sell, by the way. I don't buy to sell my objects. I don't buy to use it in my projects. If it's the right thing, of course I'll use it.
Yeah.
I buy them just because number one, I have to have them. I love them, and I want to be the guardian who preserve these items. And I know if I love them, there will be other people who will enjoy them, and that's just me.
Absolutely.
I have 10,000 square feet storage. That's the scary part.
Yeah.
Hi, Mary Beth. Judith is.
Oh yeah, Mary Beth is there.
I will say hi. We'll see you soon.
No, I wish more people like us appreciated old, antique objects. I feel like there's not enough. And then you mentioned that, really quick, you mentioned that you would do one of your most favorite projects was a palazzo in Italy.
Yes. So a quick background story. I don't know if the movie director is listening right now. I don't have any list of who's listening or who's watching. So the showcase, the Town Hall, a project that I did here, and the decorator showcase, I call that the room that keeps on giving. That room has given me more projects than any rooms in my life or anything that I've done. And it's been published as far as Russia and Asia. And
wow. Yeah, it's great.
So one visit, I was introduced to the movie director by a mutual friend, and he literally came up to my room on the second floor, and he dropped down on his knees and said, "I just love this room." And he grabbed my hand. He said, "I want you to be my next set director.
Cool.
Set designer."
Yeah.
I've heard people speak in a different tone and intention during a party or showcase, Yeah. So I don't take it quite seriously, but I thank him. And before you know it, he invited me literally to go to Italy to meet a princess who owns a palazzo, a palace. While I can't mention, I always keep my clients or our.
Is it in Tuscany? Is it in Tuscany or what part of Italy?
Let's just say it's northern Italy. So without being specific, northern Italy.
Sure.
And it's roughly about 120 square feet. Imagine 120 square feet. I hope I will be alive when this project is done, because it's going to take a lifetime for real. Yeah. So we are actually we have this project, and we want to thank you, Jack. I saw you congratulating me, but I just hope that I get to see the end result, because it's a long-term project, and it's such an honor, such a humble princess, a sweetheart, and it's again, it's a dream project. Hey, if a princess calls a queen, the queen shows up.
Yeah, exactly. And so, a big exclusive here on the gram. This is you are coming out with a book.
Yes, thank you. I just made the announcement today, actually, and I want to do it on your show, as well as Dean gives me the thumbs up. And earlier, our publisher sent us few hearts, so I'm I have their approval in making the announcement. Yes, I am so happy and honored to be published by Flammarion or Flammarion.
Yeah.
They're based in Paris, and they published amazing books, not just design, but specifically in design. They published the historical houses of Paris and Liège, which is Christian Liège, the noted designer. And I'm so honored that they want to showcase my
That's
work.
amazing. What's it called?
You know, we're the title exactly has not been formalized, but I'll give you a hint. I think you know my obsession with the old school world.
Yeah,
And
of course.
as well as the it's a love letter for both worlds, the East and the West. And so that's a good hint. And Dean Rees Morgan, who's the author of Jeremiah, the book of Jeremiah Goodman, amazing book. Here is Dean's latest book. I should show this. There you go.
Oh, beautiful.
And also, thank you, Suzanne. And he will be our editor. And recently, actually, Flammarion just also published Marc-Antoine Coulon. If you don't know Marc-Antoine, you should follow him. That's M-A-R-C, Antoine Coulon, C-O-U-L-O-N. He is the illustrator, a really talented illustrator based in Paris also. He does a lot of work for Paris Match, Harper, Bazaar, Vogue. He illustrates Who's Who. And I'm so lucky that in January when I was in Paris, Dean introduced me to him, and Suzanne from Flammarion encouraged me to have my portrait
very cool
done by Mark. And
that's awesome.
If you are patient enough, you had just in a year you'll get to see that portrait.
Yeah. Well, looking forward to the book. That's super exciting. Congratulations.
I'm so excited.
Cool. Well, we will wrap it up a little bit, but let me ask you some quick questions here. You had mentioned that you once did a closet just for Hermes bags only.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Was this for different brands, or was just for the Hermes? Just one closet for Hermes?
In one of the big mansions that we're doing, or we did, we had a client who, you know, I lost count, maybe a little over 121 or 122 Hermes bags, a closet that only housed her Hermes bags. I mean, she has all toolbox, like in small, medium, and large, extra large. If there's extra large, she'll have that most probably. An alligator, a Birkin or Kelly that's studded. In one room, that's all Hermes, and right next door, in her multi-closets, the next door is was hosting the lowly Gucci, Prada, and Dior. It always it discriminates against the Hermes in one room and everything else in a different room. Hi, Duvernay. Hi, must be Hannah. My hi, gorgeous.
What is your favorite hotel in the world? Because you said I know that you love traveling in hotels.
All right, this is where top 5. I have to say, Claridge's Connaught come to mind. I am what they call an Aman junkie. An Aman junkie is somebody who's obsessed with the Aman resorts. And if you haven't been to, I think everyone should be to the Aman once in their lives. And my favorites are the Amandari and Amanjiwa, as close to my heart in Bali and Java. The second, well, not second, but another hotel that I'm a sentimental traveler. So, and I'm a creature of habit. I always go back to the same place over and over and over. So, hello, somebody if you know, actually, he's from DC who speaks Indonesian. Hi, Daniel. And the Raffles in Singapore. It's iconic to me. That's the counterpart of there's Claridge's in London and there's
so cool.
The Raffles in Singapore, So, but I love a lot of good hotels. Typically, they are old school, with the most immaculate service and detail. and not trendy,
Yeah.
and just you know, has its own history and tradition. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Ritz in Paris is not a bad one either.
Well, in Paris, I have to say, Le Bristol is one of my favorites, and it's like a childhood home. It's like every time I go back,
Yeah.
it's like I go back home. Yeah. And there's
Oh,
somebody
so
here
great.
from Le Bristol, actually. A French hotel, yes, Le Bristol, bien sûr.
The Bristol. The Bristol.
I must please the Parisians here. Yes, the last time I went to Paris to meet the Gournay and the publisher, it was at Le Bristol, and it's always toujours Le Bristol. And that's where I ran into my favorite model, actually. She's so sweet. Leah Kabiri. If you don't know her, you should follow her. She is amazing. She's from Ethiopia, I believe. God, I'd better say that right. Yeah, I believe she's an Ethiopian model, but she's in Paris.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What about your favorite museum?
Oof.
It's a hard one, but one that you just like going
okay,
to.
so the Picasso Museum is a less known and smaller museum in Paris, and it's not too far from where I used to live. And also Sir John in London.
Oh, so great.
And
I think in London, Sir John Soames and the Wallace collection are my favorite there. They're a little less known and they're small.
Right.
And then actually Paris has another great one that's small called the Museum of Hunting and Nature. Have you been to that one?
Know, it's so it's interesting. People would assume I've been. I've never been, but I know where that is.
Great spot.
There is
near
one
the
more
Picasso.
museum. What's that?
It's right across the street from the Picasso, actually.
Yes, that's just it. I have never been. I should, but I've never been. I really love the hunting world. Yeah. There is one more museum which I'd love to bring up for awareness. There is a museum in Bali. It's called Le Mailleur. It's a rundown museum, which makes me really sad. And I've been trying to get in touch with the local government and the local people in Bali to try to revive it, and at least at a minimum to preserve it. Sorry, my phone's exploding. And it's Jean Lemailleur is or was a Belgian artist painter, and he would paint on top of the bamboo or the cloth directly on the wall. And I believe the originals have been preserved, but if you go back, it's in the Sanur area. There's a hotel. Another favorite hotel of mine is Tanjung Sari in Bali, and the Oberoi in Bali. It's not too far from Tanjung Sari, and Tanjung Sari is where the Beatles and Mick used to hang out, and the Queen of Denmark. My family and I spent a lot of time there. It's one of the original boutique hotel. But if you walk down the coast, you will run into the museum called Jean Lemailleur, and he married one of the most famous royal dancer, ballerina. They both passed away, but it makes me so sad that this museum is not taken care of. So if you have love of Bali and art and museum, please private message me. I want to do something for this museum.
That sounds amazing. So. Yeah, that sounds amazing. Have to go to Bali for sure.
Yeah, you haven't been?
No, have to go.
Shame.
I know. I know.
After that, yeah, I'll meet you in Bali. I owe a few people a trip to Bali. So
perfect. Well, one day soon when this is all done, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I know it's been an hour.
No, thank you so much for having me. And I can't wait to have you back at the store and go to Zuni. And
for sure.
I have just one thing to say. Stay positive, stay optimistic, continue to spread the love, and we can do this. We'll grow back and rebloom even more beautiful. So.
That absolutely 100%. And for all those listening, Jonathan is really one of my favorite interior designers anywhere. And so really honored to have you for the hour.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Mary Beth, Dean, everybody. Love you. Thank you, De Gournay.
Stay safe.